What's up, everybody, and welcome to the No Bullshit Six Figure Sales Podcast. My name is Coach Ceelo. I forgot the number of this episode, but the bottom line is we just finished 10 episodes of doing the whole sales process. And so today, what I want to focus on is post presentation. And we're going to focus on two things mainly. One is what I call the button up, and the other thing is going to be referrals. So let's talk about the button up. Um, you may have seen this in some of my short clips in social media, but the button up is what you do at the end of a sale to ensure, or I should best say, to prevent getting a kick, a return, a rescission, etc. And there's various ways of doing a button up. I am of the school that I only do one when I feel it is absolutely necessary. And you're going to have to figure out in your industry if that's something normal or not. Best way to evaluate it is just kind of think of the things that they are going to deal with after they finish purchasing and whether that relates or not to your industry, right? So if they're going to be checking, I don't know, Google reviews or Trustpilot or Better Business Bureau, and you know that in one of those there's going to be some bad reviews, you need to set up for that. If you're worried, they told you that every decision they make, they're always running it by their partner, or which you should have figured out a long time ago. That's another story. Or whatever. They wanted to talk with a friend of theirs that is part of the mentoring program or the coaching program or whatever other high ticket offer or high ticket space or sale that you're doing. Now you know you've got to preempt that, right? And it's better to nip that in the butt before it happens and wait for it to happen. But I am of the school of doing it only when necessary because I am a big fan of persuasion, right? I like to persuade, not persuade. And so, because of that, I feel that there are things that I can do and say and even put in my atmosphere that just by having it there, just by saying it, I'm putting little seeds in their mind for later. Well, guess what? You can do that negatively too, meaning that if you went out there and you did something or you said something referring to a rescission, they may not have even thought anything about wanting a refund or about, doing a cancellation. And now you planted that seed there. I don't want that seed anywhere near them, right? So unless I felt like it was shaky or there was something specific, or if you're in an industry where that's going to happen a lot, well, then of course put it in there. But I want you guys to understand the button up. So I've talked about the BMW button up before. I'm going to talk about it again. And that is that when you are closing and as you are, it's done. It's signed, sealed, and delivered. It's going down. You already know. You stop. You go. Oh, hold on a minute. You know, we've been talking now for the past 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever, hour and a half, and I've been doing a lot of talking. And I just want to kind of understand what were the reasons why you decided to do this again? Because an hour ago you were telling me you weren't, and now you are. I want to be sure that I understand why you're doing it and have them literally tell you the reasons why they're doing it. And then you go, oh, okay, I get it. Oh, the reason why I'm asking is because this isn't a BMW. Now, you could have explained it other ways, but I love that because that's always going to make them go, huh? What do you mean? And you'll be like, yeah, it's not like buying a BMW. You buy a BMW and you go home, you put it in the driveway, and now you go to sleep. And, whether this is on the second day or the third day or anything like that, um, you, your wife, one of you is going to wake up in the middle of the night and go, oh my God, what did we do? And what you're going to do is one of you is going to wake up, you're going to grab the keys of the BMW, you're going to get inside the BMW, sit in the leather, you're going to smell the new car scent, you're going to put your hands on that steering wheel and say, yeah. this is what. But see, you don't get that feeling from this product until you've done the mentoring, till you've done the coaching, till you put this in effect, until you went on the vacations, until you yada, 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 whatever it is that your product is, right? So, what I want is that if either of you wake up 2 or 3 days from now in the middle of the night and go, oh my God, what did I do? The other one can remind themselves, well, actually, we did this because of A, because of B, because of C, because, and that is the BMW button up. Now, it works really, really well. But again, I only do that if I feel that that's going to happen. Because if not, if it wasn't going to happen, I just put the seed in there that they may decide 2 or 3 days from now that they're going to change their mind. Why even put that in there if it's not there? So that's one of them. All right. The button up is very important. I already told you why. And so, but there's others. There's another kind of button up. So, other button ups that you can do are post sale button ups where you're going to get back in touch with them. So maybe when you were building rapport, you found out that they were really into basketball and there's a basketball game coming up. Or maybe if you were talking about vacations, they told you how they wanted to go to Italy and you told them how you had heard that there was this really great restaurant in Rome. Or maybe, if it's a car, they were telling you, how much they liked car racing and specific cars or specific drivers. And what you're going to do is you're going to do a little bit of research. It takes 5 minutes, people. We're in the age of information. Okay. You go online, you Google what a little bit of information about the car racing or about the restaurants in Rome or whatever. And 2 or 3 days later, you're going to touch base with them and you're going to give them a call and say, hey, I was just thinking about you today and I came across this. It could be an email too. And I came across this information and I just wanted to send it to you because I remember we talked about this. Now, if you're talking to them, you're going to do that. If you send the email, you're going to do that. You're not going to mention anything about the sale. What you're doing is you're just having a post sale touch. You're just creating a reason to talk to them again so that if they did have a concern, a question, or anything, they're going to take that moment to share it with you. Now, don't ask for it. If you tell them and you give them that information and they're super happy and you talk, maybe it was their daughter's birthday the following day after the sale. 2 or 3 days later, you call them up and you say, hey, how was your daughter's birthday party? I was just wondering. The whole point is you don't mention anything about the sale. So that's why I call it the just thinking about you button up. And you just leave the space open. So if there was a question, a concern, or anything, you can address it then. Because number one, they're going to appreciate the fact that you contacted them after the sale, that it wasn't only transactional. And number two, if there's anything you need to address, you're going to have a chance to address it. So that's the just thinking about you button up. The bad reviews button up. Now, the bad reviews button up is actually done during the sale. It's done at the end, and it's part of your closing pitch. Actually, after the close, but it's still part of the pitch. And what that means is if you're dealing with someone or your product is something that you know is going to have bad reviews, by the way, there better be a good reason why there's a lot of bad reviews, because if not, you're doing a shitty product, right? But keep in mind that you can find bad reviews on anything. You can Google and find bad reviews. Those of you that have higher education, go Google your university and you're going to find bad reviews. Everything has got bad reviews. And that's actually part of the pitch is you're going to tell them, hey, look, I just want you to know we spent all this time together. And what were the reasons why you wanted to do this? This. Okay, reason why I was telling you is we've got over 700,000 owners, or we've got over, 20,000 people, or we've got over 1 million people that have tried this product. We've got over 5,000, whatever number, right, of coaching, whatever has been sold over a long period of time. You mention that number and you go, and as you well know, no matter what you do, no one is always going to be, you're never going to have 100%. There's always going to be 1 or 2 people that aren't happy, no matter what you do. I bet you if you compare that to your industry, that happens there too. Yeah. Okay. Well, we've got 3 bad reviews, 4 bad reviews, 10. It doesn't matter the number because compared to the 100,000 people that have done mentoring, 50,000 that have bought the package, 1 million that have done the weight loss product, or whatever it is you're selling, that's a very small number. And now you actually tell them that's only a 1%, a 2%, a 3% of that. Makes total sense, right? So just want you to know if you come across that, it's normal. And now you preempt. Now, again, only do that if you have to, because you're going to have people that might have never even looked at the reviews. And if you said it, guess what they're going to do now as soon as you're done? They're going to go read the reviews. So make sure you've got that pitch prepared if you need it, if it's there. The other one is the relevant info button up. And that's very similar to the thinking about you button up. And it just means that did something that was very specific to that sale. So let's say you're doing weight loss and they told you that they've tried everything else in the world, but the only thing that works for them is keto. And maybe that keto works with whatever your program is. You tell them, hey, aside from all of this, there's actually an article that I was reading the other day that goes really well with what we're doing. And so then 2-3 days later, you hit them up with the relevant info. Hey, remember that article I was telling you about? Here it is. The whole point to the relevant info and to the thinking about you is that you're not coming off with commission breath. Do you guys know what commission breath is? That's when you're needy, when they can smell the fact that you need a sale. You're not doing that. And you're also not portraying the, oh my God, I'm worried that they're going to cancel, so I have to call them 5 times before the cancellation period. No, you're giving a reason why you're calling them that has either absolutely nothing to do with the sale or something very relevant to the conversation that you had. But it's not asking them, do you have any questions? Are you worried about anything? Are you going to cancel? That's not what you're doing. This is very nonchalant, very cool. Hey, I was thinking about you. Or, hey, remember what I told you about the other day? I just came across it. I wanted to say. So that's another one that I want you guys to kind of keep in mind. The other one's the customer service button up. So the customer service button up is as you're finishing the sale. I've talked about looping before, right? And when you're finishing, if you had to go for a second loop because you had some objections, when you come back in the second loop, you're touching the industry, you're touching the company, you're touching yourself, right? You're touching the product, mainly the company, the product, and you. And so remember how I always say in your pitch, always have a second pitch and a third pitch for when you're looping that you can come back around. Well, when you're doing that part that has to do with you, that's when you say, hey, look, let me tell you a little bit more about myself that I didn't tell you earlier. I am number one in this office. I am the number one person for customer service. I've got X amount of customer service awards. And my intention here is not just this one transactional sale, but I want to continue to keep earning your business and earn your friend's business. And the only way I can do that is by giving you the best customer service possible. So that means that even after the sale, we're going to keep in touch. And I'm going to keep helping you and guiding you to, whatever. You've got to kind of mold the customer service. Now, here's the problem with the customer service pitch. Do not use this if you are not going to follow up, because then it will blow up in your face. If you tell them that you're going to be there and that you're going to help them out, you got to be there and you got to help them out. Now, you can establish the parameters on how you do that, right? Hey, guys, you can get a hold of me anytime you like, whatever, but when I'm on vacation, I'm on vacation. There's 2 months out of the year you may not catch me, but there's always going to be somebody here to take care of you. But other than that, I'm going to be available. You give me a call as long as I'm not on presentation, or text me. I always used to tell my owners, I'm going to give you the best customer service ever. I just need you to do one thing. Email me or text me, because I don't answer the phone when someone calls if I'm on a presentation. And if I don't recognize the number, a lot of the times I won't answer it either. But you send me a text and I got you. You send me an email and I got you. And I do. So if you're going to do a customer service pitch, make sure that you follow up with the customer service. So let's kind of summarize the button-ups. And there's more, but this is a great start. You have the BMW button-up. You have the just thinking about you button-up. You have the bad reviews button-up. You have the relevant info button-up, and you have the customer service button-up. So that was one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about today. The second thing is referrals. Listen, you already put in all this amount of work. You already put in all this amount of work. You already did all of this. You finally got a yes from them. Why are you going to let it end here? If you did the sales process right, and if you did the closing right, 6 times out of 10, 7 times out of 10, they are going to thank you for helping them make this. And when they do, you're going to ask them this question: are you happy with my service, of how I've treated you? And they're going to say, yes, absolutely. Great. Well, the greatest compliment that you could ever give me is to think, who else could I help like I've helped you? And let them know about me. And then you're going to set it up. I'm going to give you a call in a couple days anyway. I'll tell you about it later, but I just want you to keep in mind who you may want. Now, I am not going to ask them for the referrals at that moment. The only time I ask for the referrals at that moment is when I didn't get a sale. If you don't get a sale, you might as well ask for referrals because you didn't get a sale. But if I did get the sale, I'm going to wait for one of those follow-ups that I just told you about. And then when I do one of those follow-ups, while I'm in that conversation, I'm going to ask them, remember how I asked you to keep in mind? Who did you think of? Oh, my friend Jerry and my friend Susan, whatever. Now, here's the other thing. They're going to give you their names and numbers, but guess what? You're not going to call them because that's a cold call. You're going to ask them, can you do me a favor? Could you call them and let them know that that I'll be calling them so that I can give them a call? That way, if they're interested, I can give them a call and let them know about what we're doing. Let them know how excited you are. Guys, what I just gave you is gold because you're taking a cold referral, which cold referral is better than no referral, but it's now becoming a warm referral. And when you have a warm referral, everything. They already spoke to the person. They told them how excited they are about the product. And now they're waiting to talk to you. Now, here's the beautiful thing about a referral. It was money you were never going to get anyway. It was perfect. But not only that, if you can time this just right, and if you can get in touch with that referral quickly, what you're also doing is cementing that first sale. Because that person referred their friend. You got in touch with their friend and now you sold their friend. Guess what customer number one can't do now? They can't decide to cancel between the cancel period because they would look like an idiot if they referred their friend and then they canceled. So if you time it right and you do it right, not only are you putting extra sales in your pocket, but you're cementing even more that first sale because nobody wants to look like an idiot in your friend. There's no way I'm going to recommend something to you and then cancel afterwards. It would be too much of an embarrassment and it would make me look like a donkey, literally, right? So that is but the secret is, well, the best way is right after they thank you, because then you come in with, oh, thank you so much. Are you happy with my service? You like the service I gave you? Well, the biggest compliment you could ever give me is to let me help someone else you know that might also be able to take it. Guys, my name is Coach Ceelo, and I have helped hundreds of salespeople reach, attain, and maintain 6 figures. And if you keep watching my podcast, you'll be the next.